You're right, everyone, it's Sam here. Welcome back to MotoGP 14 career. In the previous episode we scored the first points of our career, if you remember, in of course the Moto3 series at the Austin circuit for the Grand Prix of the Americas. Now today we're moving on to round 3 of the season, and it's at a track that's brand new for MotoGP. It's in Argentina, the Termas de Rio Hondo. I'm pretty sure I pronounced that one right, and I'm quite looking forward to it because I've done a few laps of it on MotoGP bikes in fact, and I actually really enjoy this track. But one thing we are going to do here is turn off that penalty timer because it has been doing my head in so far in this career mode, so we're not putting up with it anymore. It's gone. Okay, good, and we're now going to go over to qualifying.
Hello and welcome to the Termas de Rio Hondo circuit. We're joining you live from Argentina. There's already a buzz of excitement inside the paddock, and in a few minutes race direction will get the qualifying session underway. The weather forecast for this session is fine, so riders and teams will be able to focus exclusively on getting the best out of their bikes.
So here we are then at the end of our first qualifying lap, and it wasn't that great, but you know, I tend to take a while to get up to speed with these as we go ninth. I mean, not everyone had set a time at this point of course, so wasn't really much to go off. And then you can see here a few laps later understeering like mad at the final corner, way wide, and I was 17 at this point as I set a personal best, and that was just understeer, another problem again. I mean, we haven't seen it so much in the previous, well, we certainly didn't see it in Austin, but of course it was raining so you couldn't really base off much. But yeah, it's really been a recurring thing for me in this game with Moto3 bikes, and it's very frustrating, as we said, when you're trying to push. And luckily I've turned off the penalty timer now, so I don't have to put with it too much. But we are going to talk to our engineer and get a bit of help with our setup, because I mean this bit is really helpful for if you don't know what the best setup is, because you can just like tell your engineer what problems you're having, and they'll suggest ways you can improve it. So of course we're going to tell them that we're understeer on the exit of these corners, because that really is what the problem is here. And of course he's suggested a setup, and we are going to take that, and we're now going back out there. And you can see here that in sector 3 on this first lap out, bear in mind this was the first lap back out there with this new setup, that I was looking pretty good here. I wasn't far off in sector 3, so this was looking like it was going to be an improvement. I mean, it wasn't probably going to be troubling the front runners, so I take quite a weird line into that tight right hander there, but it seemed to work out for me here as we go out here going almost full throttle out of that final corner, and we're going to go to the line now. And let's see how much of an improvement it is. We are going all the way up into 11th place, so that improvement has done, well, it really has done what it says on the tin. It has improved a lot. And so we had dropped down to 13th by the end of the session, but you can see here at the end of qualifying I was on an even better lap than before, only 3/10 off at the third intermediate, so to the line it could be an improvement here, getting up amongst the front runners. As I said, of course, they were down into 13th, so we may just be improving back to where we were. Down at the final corner now, then running right out onto that curb, and now trying to straight line it to the line. And it is only, well, you may have seen it there briefly in the top left of the screen, but as you can see we're 10th on the grid. We just let ourselves in between the two Italians of Antonelli and Bagnaia there. 2 places ahead of our teammate McPhee, a few places behind their other teammate Vasquez, but let's go to the race.
Hello and welcome to the Termas de Rio Hondo circuit in Argentina. In a few minutes the Moto3 riders will be out to win the 3rd round of the World Championship. Despite the clouds building up overhead, track conditions are good, and the forecasts say the risk of rain is pretty low.
So yeah, luckily unlike Codemasters, the forecasts are usually right when it says there's not a chance of rain, so it is nice and dry here as we're looking through the grid now. There I am in 10th place, heading up the 4th row, and looking further down, just some of the guys at the back, and of course not much to see here. And we're going to go to the grid now then, and here we all got the lights on, and we are away in Argentina. And it's been an alright start for us here, but it's looking like the KTM there behind us is having a look. But we've got the inside line now for turn 1. We're going to have a look at a few of these guys where we almost had a look at Antonelli and Kent there, but they just slid straight back past us. I mean, as the AI always seem to do in these games, of course. But it looks like we could be in for a bit of a battle here already. as we're in through the first couple of corners, and Bang Eye is still having a look at us there. We don't want to lose this front group though, of course, and of course this nice long straight here is going to really help us with that, because heading down the there's always a nice slipstream here, and we're just keeping in touch with them. But Bang Eye is now getting in our slipstream, and it looks like a few guys are going to be as well. It looks like there's 2 or 3 behind us who could have a look, but I'm very late on the brakes. I get back past Bang Eye. I'm having a look at my fellow Brit Danny Kent, and it doesn't look like I've quite got enough to make that move stick there, but we are back up into 10th place. But Bang Eye is looking at us again here. That KTM power really working for him in these early stages of the race. He looks like he could really be challenging us here, but I've managed to hold him off again on the brakes, and or what I really want to do is be looking at Antonelli and Kemp. I just can't, because that KTM behind me is just non-stop pressure here for 10th place. Of course the points get on to 15th place here, remember, so this isn't a battle to stay in the points, of course, but I mean, we've had the taste of scoring some decent points now, and I'd like to have that a bit more as Oliveira's going through, and Bang Eye is going through, so we're down into 12th place for now. But I'm going to just brake very late, do a dive bomb as they say, and hit Oliveira wide, and I'm back up into 10th place for now, but he is right on us there. You can see, you'd think it was his chase cam we were looking at, not ours there. We're getting on screen, there's a new R&D thing there that I unlocked for this, so hopefully, well, I don't think that even comes into effect until the next race, so there's not much help to us now as Oliveira is going through, and it looks like Bang Eye might be having a look at us as well, and we're running wide through turn 2 and they're both through, and now it looks like I think that's Masbu there having a look at us as well. We're bouncing over that curve out of turn 3 or 4, whichever one it is, and it looks like Masbu, I think it is Masbu. We'll have a look at this here down this straight, so we've kind of dropped back a little bit from those two ahead, and you just saw that, look at that, it's 4 wide almost in on the straight as this Granado, who was like in about 14th or 15th place, he's just come straight through, and suddenly I'm in 16th place. What is going on here? I've just been passed by 4 or 5 people in like the space of a couple of corners there, and suddenly we're not in the points now. And once again, going back to just how realistic this AI is. This is just what Moto3 is like, as I launch at the inside of all of them, but it doesn't work. I'm now down into 18th place, would you believe, and 19th in fact, as Binder goes through as well, but I'm not having that, and I want to get straight back through on him as we head around that bank corner there, and I'm back at the inside and I'm back through, and I'm going to have a look at Cal Haneker now through this long left-hander, but no, because Binder's there, he's already reserved that place, and he's up into 18th place once again, so we've lost 9 places on this one lap, and I mean, honestly, we haven't even made any like real big mistakes, so put it back at the inside of Binder. But it's really a testament to just how good and aggressive, and the key words there, clean and aggressive, really, that you could say about this AI, which, I mean, if that kind of thing was in F1, it'd make it so good. I mean, of course, they're 2 completely different series, of course, but like, to see such competitive AI in a game like this it really makes the game so enjoyable, but at the same time so frustrating, because you just don't know how you're going to beat these guys. And like, for some reason in this race, I just don't know why, I was just seeming to struggle for race pace. I mean, I think I just put everything like into qualifying, really, just like really those really quick laps in qualifying, just I didn't seem to be able to reproduce them in the race. You can see they've got a bit of a gap over us, even though they're squabbling between themselves, and now I've braked on the curb and that's a massive accident, but luckily I have got my flashback now, and I've been remembering to use these, so we're going to get away with that one. But that was a bit of a warning sign for us there, because it was quite similar to the one in Qatar, except we didn't really cut across anyone that time. But we are going to skip a little bit now, I think, because we were just like in this position for so long, and we just weren't going anywhere. We just couldn't catch them. You can see on lap 4 the gap was pretty much the same. It was a break-in zone for really catching these guys, but I really messed up this one here, and I get a warning for corner cutting. So I've still got rules and flags on, but I've just taken off the penalty timer, so you just won't be having those like half a second added to our race time, which just always annoyed me. And You can see yeah, I was still in 18th place, but as I said, we were closing in on him on the brakes, but just sometimes I was messing up my braking zones, and now Livio Loy's having a look at us as well. We could be down to 19th place here. We're going side by side with him here towards this bank left-hander, and we have just about got the place for now. And it's what I was telling about how frustrating it was, because all the time that front, well I say the front group, but the group in front of us there, about 4 or 5 bikes, were just tantalisingly close to us, but we just couldn't close the gap down enough for them, as Lloyd's coming back at us now. And I knew that if I carried on battling with those guys, they would just edge further and further away, and I just wouldn't be able to catch them, and that was what was really frustrating about this. You can see it's Loy, and I can't remember who the other guy was. I think I might have said it down in the bottom just now, but yeah, those guys were just all over the back of us here, and I really wanted to catch that group in front of me, because of course that went up to 13th place there, leading that group, so that would have been a few points if we could have got ahead. You can see there in the bottom left that our teammate McPhee was actually down to the back of that group now, so not looking too great for 2 of the Racing Team Germany bikes, but you can see on the map that Efren Vasquez was still going pretty well up in the top 10, so it wasn't all lost for the Racing Team Germany in this race, of course. So but I mean, there's that to look up to, but of course it would probably be one of the guys like the Estrella Galicia bikes, I think, that have been scoring points for Honda in this race. You can see Alex Marquez was leading the race at this point, so that could probably help out Honda a lot in the Constructors' Championship here, because I think we do actually have a good chance of winning that one, because I mean it's only the top rider who scores the points, so for Honda it would be, as I just, well, I've already said, haven't I, the guys like Marquez or Rins, unless like later on in the season once we're properly up to speed with this game, we can somehow get a decent result, or of course if I change teams, because you do have an opportunity to change teams every few races. But you can see here once again just tantalisingly close to those guys up ahead, but just not able to like get close enough to make a move on them. I did seem to have a little bit of a gap now to Loy, and it was Mickey Ayo, I think, was the other guy who was in that little squabble there for 18th to 20th places. As I go into this penultimate corner now, then on the throttle, but almost going over the handlebars there, so we were just pushing too hard there, and that might have just been our chance to catch those guys gone, because yeah, that did lose us about a second or two there. And of course you can't really steer when your rider's hanging off the front of the bike, so yeah, it did cost us a fair bit there. You can see that group of I think it's 6, I can't really tell because my screen's a bit blurry right now, but yeah, I think it's 5 actually. Well, I haven't said that, I looked it again and now it looks like 6, so I'm looking like a bit of an idiot right now, but never mind, as we're heading down this long straight for the final time in this race. It doesn't look like we're going to be close enough, we're just not close enough to get the slipstream. Really frustrating result this is looking like it's going to be, because it looks so promising after qualifying. We looked like we'd got to speed with the track, and especially after Austria it looked like we were really making progress, but I guess not. I guess it really does depend on what tracks you're good at and what tracks you're not good at. I guess that's just how the seasons might go, I guess. But I mean, hopefully after I've done a few more races the results are going to start coming in a bit more consistently, because I don't want it to be like, oh look, I've got about 10th place, I'm getting, you know, I'm making progress with this now, and then like in the next race be finishing like down in like 25th or something. But we can see here on the final lap I was actually really close to these guys. It was looking like I might even be able to make a move into this final few corners here, as we're looking at, I think it's Granado and Bastianini who have sort of dropped back from that group, and I knew that my only chance would be to once again dive bomb it up the inside here, and that is exactly what I do, because it's my only chance of taking any points. Now I've contact with Granado and Masbu, and I've crashed, and wow, that wasn't very good for us. And yeah, never dive bomb, and that certainly was not a dive bomb for safety, so there you go. I'm not sure what I just did there, but anyway, we crossed the line and it was only 21st in the end, which is a rather annoying result in the end, I guess. But of course it's still fairly early days in our career, so we're looking at the stand-ins. Rins, Fanati, Marquez, Miller, Cornfall, the top 5. There's our teammate Vasquez, who's had 7th place in every round. He's number 7 and he's in 7th place in the championship, and we're down to 13th now, but I mean, There was still some pretty good points we scored in the first round. And there you have it then. Honda still top of the constructors, so that's some good news there at least. Even though we didn't contribute to it at all. But it doesn't matter. And look at that, we've lost 333 fans. What glory hunters. Anyway, that is it for episode 5. Next time we'll be racing at a track that I do quite like, the Jerez circuit, I believe it is. So there's that to come. So yeah, goodbye.